How can I draft an enforceable non-disclosure agreement? Imagine you're starting a new job or launching a business. Protecting your sensitive information is key, but how do you make sure your confidentiality agreement actually holds up in court? That's what we're here to figure out. First, you need to clearly identify who is involved. Write down full legal names, addresses, and company details for everyone signing. Decide if it's a one-way agreement where only one side discloses information or a mutual one where both share secrets. This clarity helps avoid confusion later on. Next, define what counts as confidential information. Be specific. Include trade secrets, client lists, financial data, or proprietary processes. Also, mention what's not confidential, like information already known, publicly available, or legally required to be shared. This keeps the agreement fair and clear. Then, explain why the information must stay secret and how it can be used. For example, it might be for business development or project collaboration. Set a time limit for how long the confidentiality lasts. It could be indefinite or for a certain number of years, depending on what makes sense for your situation. Include instructions for what happens when the agreement ends. Usually, this means returning or destroying any confidential materials. Specify how and when this should happen to avoid disputes. Also, outline remedies if someone breaches the agreement. This could include court orders to stop the disclosure or damages for any harm caused. Make sure your NDA follows employment laws. For example, it cannot stop employees from reporting illegal activities or participating in whistleblower actions. Recent laws also restrict NDAs from covering sexual harassment or unlawful conduct if signed before any dispute. Staying within these limits keeps your agreement enforceable. It's important to have something of value exchanged, called consideration, like employment or access to confidential information. Everyone should sign voluntarily, without pressure or coercion. Avoid vague or overly broad terms, like unlimited confidentiality periods or restrictions that could unfairly limit someone's future work. Finally, tailor the NDA to fit the specific role and information involved. Review it regularly to stay compliant with changing laws. Consulting a legal professional during drafting is always a good idea to make sure your NDA is solid and enforceable. By following these steps, you can create a confidentiality agreement that protects your information and holds up if challenged. It's all about clarity, fairness, and legal compliance to keep your secrets safe.